Hello, everybody, and welcome. So excited to be connecting with you today. And I am in some of the most amazing company. I have the honor and the pleasure to have been connected with these 7, we're missing one, unfortunately, who's not well today, but 8 amazing beings who have brought their energy, their expertise, and their hearts to this event this week. And they all graciously agreed to be here today to share more of their wisdom with us. So thank you, each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart. And thank all of you who have said yes to yourself by taking time out this week to drop in, to listen, to get inspired. Whether you take one thing away from this or you totally get inspired and move things in a totally different direction, whatever is meant to come through for you, we hold space for that for you. So we have a lot of goodness to bring to you today. More inspiration is the intention, answering your questions. So we're going to kick it off. And I am going to turn over the reins once again to my beautiful friend, Jenna Monaco. She has graciously agreed once again to moderate this panel and to guide us through some questions that will hopefully help to inspire you further. So Jenna is, there's not a lot of words for this amazing woman. I'm just grateful. She is one of those people that I get to lean on and who are in my world, and it's magical for me. She is an amazing support to her own clients, herself. She is inspiring. She is magical. And I'm going to let her tell you exactly what she does in the world. But I'm going to pass the reins off to her. Oops, you're muted, my friend. I know this is the problem. You're still muted. Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, those kind words. I'm really honored to be here with all of you and grateful for the opportunity. I am what I call a modern mystic. Basically, what that means is bringing the practicality and science and spirituality together and really inviting in curiosity and question of how that can serve us in the modern world and in our everyday lives, and helping to tap into our intuition to heal and create emotional resilience. So that's what I do with my clients. That's what I do in my life. That's what I think about and ponder all day long and write about endlessly. So that's a little bit about me. And I want to begin with bringing all of the guests in today and just asking you questions, but doing it a little bit differently. So we're going to be sharing instead, just sharing with everyone who's watching who you are, and then what you're reading and listening to, and then we'll get into the second question in the next round. So we'll start with who's on my right here. So Laura.
Oh my, really?
Welcome in, Laura.
Yay! Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank you for being here.
So you just wanted me to tell you what I'm reading and listening to right now?
Yes. And
oh my gosh.
Who you are.
Okay. Well, who am I? I'm the CEO of Brave Healer Productions. We publish world-changing wellness books. And I'm super honored to be in the square next to Miss Christie Sullivan, because right now what I am reading are all of her beautiful authors' chapters for a book called Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing. And honestly, you guys, I don't have a whole lot of time to read extra stuff because I proof and edit and read basically all day, every day if I'm not writing. So these chapters are amazing. And I'm learning a lot about human design from reading this beautiful book. And in terms of what I'm listening to, pretty much every day a little EDM. Do you guys know what that is? Electronic dance music. So I'm a raver, and I'm totally missing my music festivals over this last COVID year. So boo on COVID, and let's get back to our festivals.
I love it. Thank you so much, Laura. And we'll bounce over to Christie. It's like a perfect transition, actually. Welcome in, Christie.
Hi. Hi, welcome, and thank you for having me as well. So funny, I am following Laura because I was going to come up with my own unique answer, which is I'm not listening or reading to anything myself. And just, I think it happens to be just with the summer, as well as because I'm working on this book project too. So I didn't have anything in particular, although I do want to say that I do listen to a lot of maybe podcasts on human design, of course, because that's my jam, as Laura would say. And I also just get inspired by others. So doing like programs and coaching with others. I'm in a program called Wealth Codes right now, where I'm and something called the Abundance Experience, and those things are just to help me learn through other experts and mentors. So that's really what I'm listening to. And I'm a human design and self-care expert, author, and speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christie, for sharing that. And we'll move down to Kendra. Welcome in, Kendra.
Hello, I'm so
Hello.
excited to be here. Thank you for having me. All right, so a little bit about me. I'm the founder of Soulful Success by Design, and kind of into the human design world, just like Christy mentioned as well. So I work with ambitious female leaders to help them become more clear and confident and on purpose with their missions through aligning to their human design. What I am reading right now, I love books. So I'm constantly kind of like reading several books at once. So the two that I'm reading now is the 15 Commitments of Consciousness. I don't know if anyone's read that book, but it's so good. And I'm also reading a book by Rick Thompson called The Quantum Mindset in a Nutshell. Quantum Mindset in a Nutshell. So, and I have Audible too. So I'm also always listening to books on Audible as well. But I'm happy to be here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And we'll move over to Annalina. And I think we did the mute unmute thing too. In the same boat here.
I just talked to myself. No, I was saying I'm so happy to be here. It's such a loving energy. We should have a cup of tea or coffee. And so it's such an honor to be here. My name is Annalina Fox, and I am also all into human design. So I'm a spiritual business and love coach. It's all about relationships, right? With ourselves, business, and that's what it's all about. And widely passionate about it. And I just help people activate their true potential, because we always have blind spots, right? I have my own coaches and mentors all the time, and I just believe in human connection. Like, we can bring out our best when we come together, right? And I'm super excited to be here. I already said that. And what am I listening to? I'm a manifesting generator, and I'm sometimes all over the place. So I listen to this, and then I start reading this. I don't always finish the whole book. But right now I am listening to a podcast from Jim Fortin. It's called Transform Your Life from the Inside Out. And I also love to hear it from a man. And he's actually talking about all these things about manifesting money, and we have to connect to our heart. And it's just so good to hear him share this. And reading a book, also here Audible, I resonated with everything you guys were saying, right? Like, there's a book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. I started listening to that again. It's also incredibly amazing. And that's it about myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we'll move over to Baljeet.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
All these amazing women. It's so nice to finally meet you. I'm Baljeet Riot. I'm the founder of Lotus Destiny. I help people activate to their highest potential. I'm also an Akashic Record consultant and teacher, and also a sacred geometry soul artist and a conscious DJ. So there you go, Laura. I'm totally missing the festivals right now myself. And right now I'm just listening to a lot of music at home and a lot of nature.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And Sophie, come on in. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. My name's Sophie Frabota, and I am a healer, a spiritual healer and mentor. I have a spiritual life coach certification program that I have I launched a couple years ago, and I've been having loads of students come through this and have massive transformation. And it's very satisfying with the way the world has gone. And I do deep healing work with people. I really am all about finding that root wound and bringing awareness and healing to the root so that we can release the energy, so we can reprogram the space and radiate with new light. And that's what I teach my coaches. I have something I call the 4 Rs method, which is the process we bring people through. And right now I am actually reading A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records. I recently have had this draw and this call towards the records, and I am taking Melissa Fike's certification program currently, just to learn about that space, and am having pretty miraculous experiences every single morning. So I'm like enthralled. It's like everything I'm listening to and reading and doing, and I love it. So that's what I'm doing personally in my inner work.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love root wound. That wording and that phrasing really speaks to me. And Sherry, come on in.
Hello. So if you don't know me by now, I'm the reason that this is happening. So I have a passion for helping spiritual entrepreneurs or budding spiritual entrepreneurs find their way in the world and do it their way, to know that there's not one way, but there's just their unique way of being and design. So I'm also a healer. Probably would never have owned that up until a few years ago. So, but I'm proud to say that, and I'm honored to say that, and that I get to support others on that journey. I'm also a intuitive business mentor, and I just love the journey of transformation. I'm also I love human design. I love Akashic Records. I love all the things. I am astro curious. And so on my book right now that I've been playing with is Cosmic Health by Jennifer Ratchaponi, if I can say her name correctly. And then I'm listening to, really, as I'm, putting myself out in the world right now in a big way, and showing up every day for this event and otherwise. And it's been a journey. I'm really paying attention to staying grounded, clearing my energy. So just a lot of guided meditations for me right now is what's helping me to keep my energy light and clear. So that's what I'm up to.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for sharing that. I love hearing about books because apparently I can't keep out of a bookstore. So I left the bookstore I used to work at in college, and then they were like, "Hey, you want to come back?" And I was like, I don't have any time for this, but yes, I would. But thank you so much for sharing that. And we'll move into the next kind of get to know you icebreaker question before we dive really deep into the other questions that we have for this series here. But the next question is, if you could have a drink, whether that be tea, wine, coffee, with anyone living or who has passed on, who would it be? And we'll just go right back around the circle starting with Laura.
This is such a hard question for me. But when you mentioned it, the first person that came to mind was Maya Angelou. And you guys may or may not know that I'm a spoken word poet, as well as a publisher and a holistic physical therapist and all the million other things that I do. But poetry turns me on so much, and I would love to sit with her and just listen to her spit some poetry at me. So that's my quick answer.
I guess I'm next. And
Yep.
My choice of drink would be chai tea, because I just love chai. And the two people actually I thought of, because their anniversary of passing was recent, is Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. I think they actually passed the same day, a year apart. It was pretty amazing. And I really hold them in high regard, and I would have loved to see them in person. I am blessed I got to see other spiritual teachers like Oprah and Deepak Chopra in person, but I never got to see Louise or Wayne, and I love also their books. So I would love to sit down and have a cup of chai with them.
Love that. Thank you for painting the picture too. Come on in, Kendra.
All right. So when Laura said Maya Angelou, I about fell out my chair because that is exactly who I would love to sit down and have a conversation with. But I think for different reasons. Like I love her poetry. I love how she just how she uses words. But she is, to me, embodies this wisdom that I would love to just sit and just drink up. You know, I'd love to just ask her life questions and questions of the heart and just see what she would have to say. And then I do have one other person too, and my grandmother. She is someone that her energy is always with me. And I think it'd be really cool to be able to sit down and ask her questions as an adult version of me, you know, about her life and some of the things that I have questions about. So, yeah.
I love that. I feel that so much. Like as an adult, there's so many other questions that you would want to express and share and ask with somebody you were so close to as a younger, and you know, being now. Sometimes we see the world and we go, oh, I wonder what they would have thought of that, you know? Thank you for sharing. And Annalina, come on in.
Yeah, it was also not an easy question for me, but this person is actually alive, and his name is Kyle Cease. So he's a fun person that I would love to. It's just like, it was like, yeah, that would be so much fun. And I don't know if you know him, but he's a transformational speaker. He used to be like a stand-up comedian, and he teaches all about connecting to your heart, how to get to our wounds and release it. And I just love listening to him in general. And he calls himself like the combination of Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle. So like if they had a baby, I think that's always what he says. And I think he's incredible. And I would love to meet him in person, have a coffee or a tea and have a nice chat and hear his wisdom.
So yeah. What a combo. Jim Carrey. Totally. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Come on in. Jeet.
Yeah, I feel for me would be my grandmother as well, my dad's mom. She passed away when my dad was really young. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of unpacking with my own ancestral history from India. And I would love to just sit down with her and ask her how life was like growing up in India. And normally we would have chai, but I would love to just bring a glass of wine to her and just ask her questions. Yeah, it'd be my grandmother.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Sophie, come on in.
So originally I was with Christie. I was like, I had this whole panel like in mind that I was like, okay, let me like really set the scene. And it would be Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Michael Beckwith, and then some Michael's living. And then another one of my teachers who I've never met, but who is currently living. Her name's Atea Lee. And I would want to sit with them. However, you know, two are passed. So that's, you know, more of a spiritual meeting. And I did manifest sitting and talking with Michael. I was at one of his silent meditation retreats, which I don't know how I got invited to, but I flew out to LA, drove 2 hours into the desert, then found out it was silent. And at the very end, when we broke our silence, I ended up sitting at the same lunch table with him after he hadn't spoken for 2 days. And he had a lot to say. He blew my mind. And I was just like eating it up. So I'd love to have that experience again, but I have experienced that, and that was pretty magical. So that came to my mind too.
Thank you for sharing that. Sherry, what about you?
Wow, so inspiring, all of these. I love it. You know, I had the grateful pleasure to have known two of my great grandmothers briefly, but I was so little. And one of my great grandmothers, you know, she'd come over from Europe, and I would just love to sit with her. I know that the magic, the mystery that I hold in me comes from that. Well, truly from both sides of the family, but very strongly from that side. And like Baljit says, there's so much ancestral healing and clearing. And I just think, I remember being a little girl and her crocheting and like sitting near her and in her lap, and to be able to be an adult and have that a conversation with her and just get her perspective on the world, and would be amazing.
I couldn't agree more. I want to dive into the big, deep questions now. Not that those weren't deep and profound in their own ways, but I would love to get to that because I know I want to honor everyone's time, and I know we have some deep things to talk about. So let's dive in. The next question is, what is a piece of advice you would go back? So think about who you were when you started your entrepreneurship journey. What is that one piece of advice that really stands out, and what would you share? What would that advice be? Laura, come on in. You're in the hot seat every time.
Learn the language of your soul, which is the sensations in your body and the thoughts in your mind and the messages and all of the ways your soul speaks. Learn that language early and trust it. And don't pay so much attention to what everyone else is telling you, but really tap in and trust what that inner wisdom and higher power is already telling you and tells you all day long. I wished I had learned that earlier. And since I've mastered it, it's become a complete life and game changer. And it's such a freeing experience to understand that you can get any answer to any problem that you have by understanding that language and trusting that language and moving forward with those messages. So yeah, that one.
I feel that in my bones. Thank you for sharing that. Christie, how about you?
I'm going to say the advice I have, which is something I wish I could give my younger self when I started as an entrepreneur. Probably 8 years ago in network marketing. And the advice is to learn your human design. It helps validate and is a tool for just understanding your uniqueness. And back when I started in network marketing, we all follow a formula. And my lesson was, not just working hard, but I certainly picked up a lot of skills. But I think if we all were able to be successful following the same formula, then we'd all be healthy, wealthy, and happy. So I realized down the road that formula didn't necessarily work for me because I had my own rhythm and pattern and way of being in my energy. So understanding that can make so many shifts as an entrepreneur, but even in life in general. So that would be my advice.
Thank you, Christie. Kendra, how about you?
So my advice to myself back then would be along the lines of looking within for my answers. I spent a lot of time looking to other people, other programs, other coaches, but just really believing that, okay, the answer is there. If I can just do this, then I'll get the answer. So my advice to myself would be to trust myself, to really get comfortable in being in my own energy and understand what my own energy feels like, to stay in my lane, and that it's okay to build slowly. I think, in the beginning, you see all of the things that can be happening in the online world, and all of a sudden someone's an overnight success and you're like, oh, okay, I'm next. All I need is just 6 months and I'm next. And you just keep chasing this never ending thing. So my advice would be that it's okay to build slow and steady. It's okay to be the turtle.
Yes. That speaks to me so much. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Annalina, thank you, Kendra.
Yes. Besides what everybody else already said, I would tell myself, it's so spot on. One thing that came to me first is stop achieving and just be, and focus on how you can start the day, just to ask how you can contribute in the world. Because I was also, like Kendra was just saying, we're chasing success. We're going on, and especially I would tell myself, like, don't get like caught up in the big money signs and these really courses that make big promises or whatever. Just focus on doing your inner energy clearing work, the inner healing work, and like take it slowly. There's nothing to chase, there's nothing to rush, and check out your human design, because I didn't know nothing about that at the time, and it's the biggest. I mean, because that gave me this, like, trusting myself, and that's really what this is all about. Like, the answers are not on the outside, they're within myself, and it happens magically, effortlessly when you allow that to happen.
Yeah, I think it was Christie who was saying there's like validation in that, of like knowing why you tick the way you tick, and you're like, oh, okay, like it's not weird for me. It's like just who I am and what I do, and you're able to trust that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Baljeet, come on in.
Hi. Yeah, I would have told myself to trust your intuition and be okay to set healthy boundaries. One of the biggest things that I went through when I first started my entrepreneurial journey was I would get these strong intuitive hits, but then I wouldn't really honor that. And it would just be overridden by giving my power away, whether it was to other mentors and just other people in general, even clients, where my boundaries, I allowed my boundaries to be crossed. And I had to really learn to be okay to set healthy boundaries, be okay to say no when it's needed, and to say yes as well. And I think sometimes, especially as intuitives, you're all intuitive, it's like sometimes we forget to speak our own words, like our truth out loud. So if I could go back, I would tell myself at the start of the journey, like, be okay to set healthy boundaries.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. The boundary piece is a key word for me personally, and um, it's such a good reminder. So thank you for bringing in today. Sophie, come in and share.
I think you're breaking up on my end. Is she breaking up for everyone? Okay. I'm not sure if you called on me or if you were still talking, but I'm going to hop in here.
I did. I think it was me. There were like circles happening everywhere, and I was like, I think it's me.
Oh,
Sorry
okay,
about that.
Cool. Awesome. So I would say, what I've seen across industries as well with entrepreneurs is there's no race. I think that there's this often mindset of like the race to your first your milestone, right? So whether that's 5 new clients or $1 million or whatever it is, that drives a lot of people, but I think it also stresses people out, and it creates scarcity frequency, right? And so then people start to operate, they don't even know it. They don't know they made the shift from being in alignment to being in scarcity and like chasing this thing. So what I would tell myself is slow down. There's no race, and really trust divine timing, because divinity is working through every word, through every keystroke, through every conversation. And if you really sink back into that and trust that, it relaxes you. It's like medicine. So I often say, like, trust is medicine. Take your medicine, trust. So that's what I would tell myself.
So good. So good. I'm going to
Beautiful.
hop
Thank you
in.
so much,
Jenna
Sophie,
looks like
for
she's
sharing
getting
that.
stuck a little
And
bit.
Sherry,
There
come
you
on
are.
in and share.
So
I think
all
I'm
of that
gonna move,
and then
I'm gonna
some.
move locations.
Okay. Well, you move.
Because I can hear
We
you guys
will.
just fine. There you go. All right, we're good.
There we go. Cool. So I would tell myself all of those things. And it's so true. This energy when we step into entrepreneurship, it's like it's all me, right? It's just you. And so there's this feeling of, I tell myself to let go of the pressure, let go of the needing to do, and to really step into just being and trusting. There were so many times when my intuition was screaming at me and I didn't listen. And to really deepen into that trust and that knowing that, I can go at my pace and do it my way, and it's safe to do that. And it's possible to do that. And just to honor that it's a journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love where you all took that. I heard you all, even though you couldn't see me, I heard everything that you all said. And I think that there's a lot of, like Sophie was saying, like medicine in the journey itself. And that journey and all of the lessons that we take while we're being the turtle, as Kendra said, while we're taking our turtle time, we have medicine there, and that we learn along the way. And that's what I think is my cat. Success is created from there. So thank you all for sharing that. And I want to share the next question, which is, what is one thing you can tell all of your clients? That one thing.
Okay. Answering all of these first, you guys. Wow, the pressure. I'm telling you. Okay. The one thing I would tell all of my clients, your fear of not good enough is boring. What if the thing that you're still a little afraid to share is exactly the thing someone needs to hear to change their life? It's time to be brave.
Whew, okay, tough love. I love it. I love it. I need it. I like it. Okay, Christie, come on in.
Wow, that's a powerful one to follow up on.
Yeah,
I love it.
You can do it.
I go a little bit more practical with the clients. I talk about self-care, and part of that is because I think the fastest way, the easiest way, if you don't know all of these energy words or principles, self-care is something you can do on a daily basis to align yourself, to align the energy, to do the inner work. And self-care, I heard Sophie say this, I did listen to her session the other day, that I'm not talking about like the outer self-care, but the inner work, the higher level self-care of what are you doing to bring joy in, love in to yourself, and also to heal. And just doing some kind of self-care. It can be just a few minutes. It doesn't have to be big, overwhelming, or expensive. So my advice is just do that self-care. It resets you, it calibrates you, and it creates this alignment that's just so important, essential, and magical.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Kendra, come on in, share your thoughts.
I love this. So what I commonly share a lot with many of my clients is that they get to write the rules or create their own definition of what success is for them. So I work through my clients through the lens of human design. So we're always first looking at, what is your authentic truth? Right? But then also settling into this knowing that whatever success feels right for you in your body, that's what it gets to be. That's exactly what it gets to be. And it doesn't have to be what you typically see in the world. It could be something as simple as just, wanting to have more time with your family. That can be your success if that's what feels really good to you. And owning that. And just making your own rules for this life. I'm so passionate about people making their own rules for this life. All have so many beautiful gifts, and our gifts want to be expressed in their truest form. And that's what we get to do.
Yes, yes. I feel this all in my belly, like so much passion, so much fire, so much power. So thank you. And Annalina, come on in and share your advice.
Yes, I would tell my clients, all of them, that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that we have to fix, right? Because so often people believe there's something wrong with them or there's something we need to fix. But it's more that I am here to help them see their full potential, help them activate that. And of course, we're going to look at the blind spots and all these things, but and help them really. Also, what I find really important, that I found myself telling my clients more and more recently, is that I'm not here to give you more information, right? I'm more here to help you really embody what you already know, because there's so much out there, but we don't, yeah, we say, oh yeah, I know this, but are you actually embodying this? Are you really living this, right? Like Christie talking about self-care. We know this all, we need to do self-care, but are we actually embodying this? And that's really probably so much more, but it's really like less is more. It's really like by doing less and being more, you get to create so many results faster. That's really how we can quantum leap and make what we think impossible possible, and so much more.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. Lee, come on in and share.
Yeah, I always share with my clients about setting their intentions. And how I say is, if you don't set your intentions for the day, someone else will. But you can never share how you want other people to show up, but you could share how you want to show up in your life. And I find, like, with my clients, if they're scared or they're afraid of their own power, or they're afraid of doing a session on someone, I'm like, well, what's your intention? Like, how do you want to show up? And then they're like, okay, well, I want to show up in my power. Sometimes I even include, please allow me to be a crystal clear conduit for my clients. And then they do the same as well with their clients. So it just takes away all the interference and just drops into the heart center, even in functions as well. So I love sharing set intentions. I know it's also in the group for this summit as well. And that's been like a big game changer for myself, and I know for my clients.
Mm-hmm. Yes, crystal clear conduit. I'm so glad this is like recorded and saved. Thank you, Sherry, for bringing us all together. Just a little side first and foremost, because I need to go back and take notes on all of this. Thank you for that. And Sophie, come on in and share.
So I do a lot of reprogramming in my meditations. And basically that's like when we've released something that is stuck within, we need to bring in new energy, new frequency. And so one of the things that I say on many of my meditations, live or recorded, is divinity knows you as an ancient whole being. And like, take that in. And like, when you can really take that in and be with that, you then can go deeper than that, knowing that I have all my answers. Like it's like kind of I'm leaving out some steps, but those are the two things, kind of like the top and bottom of the bucket. It's like divinity knows me as an ancient whole being. I am so loved and I have all my answers. So let's go.
Yes. Thank you. Sherry.
Feeling all of that and then some. So beautiful. So the one thing that I just, scream from the mountaintops is there's not one way, there's just your way. And it's really about you understanding how you're uniquely wired and designed, which is a process. We do have all the answers within us, but we are in this form, in this being. And so the other side of that is be patient with the forming. And I say that about all of it, like about how you're showing up in the world, how you're working with your clients. It's your who for now, your what for now, your where for now. And just be with the now and just know that it's all divinely unfolding. You are being guided, and that you get to do it your way. And when you are doing that, you're doing all the things everyone has said. You're embodied, you're connected with divine, you're standing in your power, you're honoring who you are. And whatever it takes for you to get to that place where you can really say, this is the authentic me in process, right? We're all just a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing that. I feel all of this so much in my bones, and I think it's so healing to hear this time and time again. I think that's sometimes going back to just those little deep nuggets of wisdom can help you keep going when the mind chatter and the chatter around is just loud, you know. So thank you for the medicine that you're bringing, all of you are bringing in, for everyone who watches this and for your clients and in your life. And it looks like we have a question here for Sophie. Could you talk more about self-care, self-love, and soul love?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not even on mute. Okay. Whoops. Yes. So basically the way that I talk about self-care is that's like an external relationship with self. Those are the external things I can do to fill myself up. Then we go a level inward, and that's self-love. And that's when we start to realize that we have love inside that needs to get on us through our emotions, through our thoughts, not just like saying loving things, but like, behind the scenes if you're loving or not in here. And unfortunately, a lot of people are stressed out and anxious, and they're not very nice to themselves. So that next layer of self-love is like really cleaning that up, and not just slapping a Band-Aid on a broken bone with an affirmation, I love you, but like starting to really like get your back. Like, I love you, Sophie. Like, I'm here with you and I got you. I love you. Then we go a level deeper, and that's what I call soul love. And soul love is the understanding that you came from divinity. You are a spark of the divine. You are love, walking around in this meat suit, getting beaten up by whatever is here on earth that's being thrown at us. But it's like, it's a very, very deep understanding. I like to say, like, you feel it in your hips, that you are an ancient being, that divinity knows wholly, fully, and loves every portion of you. So like, if you can accept that love deep inside, it comes up as self-love, and then it just expresses itself as self-care very, very easily.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah. Thank you for taking us on that journey. And I think the journey of love in and of itself is a lifelong exploration of all that love is. So, and all that love can be. And yeah, I could go on about love. I do. I talk all the time on my podcast. You can go find it on Spark Attention. But I know we're rounding up on the end here. And I want to offer anybody else who's watching any final questions, thoughts, comments before we close out. And I pass the baton over to Sherry to close us out.
I think we got one more question.
Awesome.
Final thoughts. Take final thoughts all the way around. Or do you have a question for everyone, Jenna? Because I know you haven't had an opportunity. Like, is anything coming up for you that you'd like to ask all of us?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I think that the question that I would like to ask is a personal one for each of you. I do this on my podcast, and I think it's just something that I love to ask. And it's, if you could write one thing on a banner for the world to see, what would it be? And we'll start with Laura. Sorry, Laura. It's like every podcast guest I ever have is like, and I'm like, and we'll start with Laura.
With awareness, you get the choice. And awareness is a very powerful topic. Awareness is everything. And when you take that to heart, create a practice, and then make a discipline of that kind of an awareness practice, your entire life can change in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. So with awareness, you get a choice. And I choose love, joy, and gratitude every single day.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Laura. I'm working through my Reiki certifications, and that's part of the five Reiki principles that I say every day. And it really is that awareness, that grounding, just like what all of you are saying, just like really being in tune and tapped into the moment is huge and such an important part of the journey. So thank you for that. Christie, come on in, share your one thing you would share on the banner.
I'm glad we know the order too, because this is consistent. I know I'm after Laura. So, I'm going to say the word breathe. I learned that long ago teaching yoga, learning yoga. And I feel like breath is when we can feel that divine spirit. Breath is for us to feel our humanness. Breath is for us to relax, to be grateful. Breath is so, so important, and we forget to breathe sometimes. So that would be the word on the banner.
Thank you. Short, sweet, to the point, very impactful. And Kendra?
All right, I like to talk, so I have lots of words. But if I could have one word, I would say it would be the word magic. And the message behind that is that you are magic, right? You are magic. You matter. Your dreams matter. And you deserve to receive them.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That feels so rich. I like that. I'm working that in my body as as we go around here. Oh, I like that. Thank you. And Annalina.
Okay. Yeah, so mine is, which I actually have, you cannot, maybe you can see it here. It's slow down. So, because I mean, everything that just was said before me kind of ties into this, I feel, because we can't really have awareness when we're not slowing down, right? We're only breathing really shallow if we're not slowing down. We're not seeing our magic if we're not slowing down. And also from a human design perspective, especially, all of us humans, when we keep pushing and hustling and going and going and going, the universe is like, oh, you don't trust me? I'm having all these amazing things here that you can respond to, or invitations. And like, if we are just rushing, we're missing out life, literally. We're missing the beauty that's all around us, right? When we don't slow down. And I always know when I'm like, I feel out of balance or something feels off, I just have to slow down and just be. And most often it's just doing a meditation, and I realize I haven't been doing them in the last couple of days, and I haven't allowed myself to slow down, and that's where all the magic starts to happen so effortlessly. So yeah, breathe and slow down and let life show you all the amazingness that's all around you and available to all of us.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Sheet.
Yeah, I feel that one word is freedom. I find when we honor our own intuition and our own autonomy, we experience freedom. And also when we dance, where we're just so in that present moment within ourselves, even like laughing, there's a freedom that we experience. And as a reminder of what does that look like for you? How can I cultivate freedom within myself that, will in turn express externally as well?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sophie.
So my banner would say, you are love, and then opening parentheses with a D, clothing parentheses. So it's like the message is you are love, but you are also loved. And if you can accept that inward love, like truly deeply, like knowing that it comes from source and it is you, you can embody it. You can really start to live from a space of love and share that with the world who so needs it right now.
Yeah, beautiful. I like physically see that on a t-shirt. Okay, Sherry, come on in.
Own your uniqueness. I just, people to just stand in their value and own their uniqueness. If we could all just, because that is self-love, that is awareness, that is all the things that you're all talking about. I also say it begins and ends with awareness, but when we can just know that we're perfectly whole as we are, that we're uniquely ourselves, there is no one else like us on the planet, and that can open the door for so many things. It opens the door to possibility, to truth.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much for your time and your energy and your wisdom and your work in the world. I am honored to be sitting with all of you, and I'm going to pass the baton off to Sherry. Well, I guess it's that way. she's on that side of my screen. Pass it off to Sherry there.
Oh, thank you so much, all of you. I'd love to just go around one last time, and we'll get to ask Jenna too this time. There's so much in the collective right now, so much energy, so much moving and changing and shifting. What are you leaning into? If you could encapsulate it in a word or two, what are you leaning into right now for yourself, for your business? What's allowing you to stay grounded, connected, supported, and showing up in your fullness? So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go to Sophie.
I think I manifested that because I was like, I'm ready. I could go. Let's give Laura a break. And I wasn't even on mute. I'm sorry. Anyways, I would say that my biggest principle right now is unconditional love. Like love without conditions, like love, frequency of love as life, and just really trying to stay in that. And, we can get triggered, which means that we have a root wound that still needs healing. That's all it is, So if we get triggered, it's really important to not react and let the trigger calm, do the work that you need to do to understand it, move it through, and then come back to that space and frequency of unconditional love. For me, that's huge right now.
Absolutely. So beautiful. Such truth. Thank you. Baljeet, how about you? What are you leaning into?
Yeah, I'm leaning into a lot of nature as of lately and community. I find it very important to be connected with my soul family. And actually, I just came back from somewhere in BC where a friend of mine just bought a piece of land and just put up a tiny home, and just being connected with community and growing our own food and everything, and just being really present has been really getting me through, and just seeing this next evolution of life. So community for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So important to feel connected right now, right? To be connected. Annalina.
Yes, I really resonate with Sophie, and it was beautiful. For me, it's surrender a lot and allowing to really, because we're in such a shift right now in this world, right? And I also actually like what you were just saying, Budget, about I really believe it's going to more community-based living. And one of the main things in this world, also the role of money is shifting a lot. Our health is really our currency. Not the physical money, so to say, and growing our own foods, for example, right? So just surrender means for me like to and allow all of this to happen, right? And let life show us how we are moving into the new world, into this new way of being, how it's really meant to be, because this is not sustainable. I mean, we all know this. And be really curious in that, right? And really open my, really get out of my head as much as I can and get into my heart, get into my body, and let life, the universe, show me how we are all being part of this and co-creating this. So
I feel that so much. Thank you. Kendra, what about you? What are you leaning into?
So I am leaning into trusting life. Trusting life. And for me, that looks like practicing allowing, letting go a little bit, and tapping into this frequency of like magic and miracles. Like I believe that there's miracles always occurring around us. There's this magic in this universe that we live in. And so it's tapping into that energy. And for me, that looks like really just sitting in my own energy. It looks like sitting, not sitting, I like to be outside, so but moving my body. So walking out in nature, or even going for a run, which most people see that as exercise, which it is exercise, but it also, for me, I feel like I'm moving my energy with the universe. And it allows me to let go of the energy that wants to stay stuck up here and moves it down into the body, which allows me to just continue to be with that intention of trusting life and knowing that I've got this, knowing the wisdom is there, and just listening. Listening.
Yes, yes. Listening deeply. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Christie, how about you?
The thing I think that comes up for me is right now being open, staying open. I think for so long the programming of expectations and control is how most of us probably grew up, and just being open right now. I heard words like transformation, allowing, love, healing, all of these really resonate. And I'll say even my open-mindedness of this week that you put together, Sherry, I didn't know I was going to be meeting such amazing souls. Not even at, an hour ago when I came on. I mean, this has been so great, so nurturing. So just being open to whatever is going to come in 5 minutes, an hour, a week away. That's really been helpful to me in this time.
Love that. Love that. Being open to possible. Love it. Laura, how about you? What are you leaning into these days?
So I'm leaning into the idea that my success is defined by how much fun I'm having. And yes. I look every day for opportunities to dance and to laugh and to kiss and hug and connect with nature and write poems and love on people. Because if we are not having fun, what are we doing here?
Right.
So that every day I lean into that, and joy arrives and everything is good in Brave Healer land.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I am right there with you. I choose joy. That has been my mantra, is I choose joy. And then, so how can I make everything that I do joyful and fun? So I love that. Thank you. You're an inspiration. Jenna, turning the tables. What are you leaning into?
So something that I read, like, obviously a lot, and one of my favorite authors, Sophie Frabota, said this once in an interview. She said that hope is one of the bravest things that you can be. Hopeful and have hope. It's one of the bravest things that you can have. And I think that I'm just leaning into hope. I think I have a lot of what I talk about on the podcast is mental health and emotional resilience and emotional well-being. And I think that setting those boundaries and instilling hope in myself, and as the world changes, and hoping for that change and keeping that hope alive, so that I can take inspired action every day, is really, really important. And hope that for a better world, better future. That's really what it sounds so cheesy, but like, that's really what I need right now is hope. So that's what I'm leaning into.
Yeah, I think so many people need that right now, need all of this. And so thank you, each and every one of you, for being the inspiration that you are, for sharing your wisdom and your advice and your magic with us. I am leaning into, like I said, joy and possibility. And part of this event is about helping each person to find what's possible for themselves. What's your next possible step? It doesn't need to be a leap off the edge of the cliff. All it needs to be is the right next step for you. That may mean looking up your human design. That may mean choosing joy. That may mean some more self-love and deepening into soul love. What is the right next step for you? And I hope that between all of these sessions that you find that for yourself and that you pay that forward, that you step into your possibility, that you do the work you're meant to do in the world, and you get the support, the community that you need. We're all here for you this week and beyond. So just sending everybody so much love, so much gratitude, and a reminder, as always, that all it takes is a little bit of heart power. And just one final reminder, just a little bit of housekeeping as we wrap it up here. All the sessions will be up for the week, so you have plenty of time to go back and listen through. But as I always know that there's so much magic in here, so if you have not already taken advantage of the VIP package where you get year-long access to all of these amazing sessions, plus like over $2,000 worth of other trainings besides what all these amazing folks have shared, please look into that. We are donating all of the proceeds to support women in Afghanistan through Women for Women International, and they are still boots on the ground there, and they are so in need of resources. So we are at almost $1,000 to donate as of today. So any additional donations would be beautifully and lovingly supported. I will be back tomorrow we're going to play with some inspired action and takeaways. So same time, same place. But in the meantime, sending all of you so much love and gratitude. And we will say goodbye for now, and we will see you all soon. Much love.